Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. One of my longtime viewers wanted me to talk about the stalker she was dealing with once again. Now, in the previous video, the viewer wanted to know why this guy couldn't take no for an answer after she wound up ending a friendship with him. And in this video, she further wants to know whether this guy was jealous and immature towards her and others. Now, when it comes down to this guy, as I stated in the previous video, this guy basically sounded like one of these nice guy beta males, and as one of these nice guy beta males, what he wanted to do was basically try to use the friend zone as a way to come in sideways towards having a relationship with her. And as he was looking to come in sideways by trying to be this friend, what happened was she wound up having a disagreement with this guy over the behavior of one of his other friends. And after this is where this guy's already dysfunctional behavior started to become antisocial. And this is where this guy started to stalk and harass the viewer, and looked to stalk and harass the viewer because he basically thought, oh, she's playing hard to get. But the whole thing is, she was never interested in him in the first place and never had any reason to be able to even be interested in him because of him trying to come in sideways through the friend zone. Now, this guy basically was a piece of work from what the viewer told me, a piece of work because he was one of these guys who basically just could not take no for an answer. And as he couldn't take no for an answer, he showed how much of a beta male man in crisis he was, like I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. Now, this guy, basically, he had created and built a world around this young woman. And as he built a world around this young woman, he basically created this whole world where he had this fantasy of being able to have a relationship with her. And as he had this fantasy about having this relationship with her, he was looking to try to make those fantasies turn into reality in a place I call the secret world. Now, as he was in this secret world, he basically didn't see this woman as a person. He didn't see her as a person at all. No, he basically saw her as an object of his fantasies. And when he had to deal with the real woman and the real woman telling him that she wasn't interested, this is where this beta male basically who was simmering and boiling in anger and frustration that he didn't know how to approach women at all, exploded in a rage. And as he exploded in this rage, he wound up escalating his behavior, and he wound up escalating his behavior into antisocial behavior, such as stalking this woman and looking to start yelling and getting violent. And this is where this viewer basically was freaked out as related to the antisocial behavior that she saw being presented to her. She just basically saw this guy again participating in this disturbing behavior, and as he participated in this disturbing behavior, she decided to end the friendship with him. And after she ended the friendship with him, this is where the guy escalated his behavior even further, doing more antisocial things, like further escalating his stalking and harassment of this woman, again, all because she had an issue with his friend and then started to have an issue with him. Now, this guy basically, again, he belongs in jail, and I had wished the viewer had gone out here and contacted law enforcement, because the only way you can deal with individuals like this who don't understand what boundaries are is to have law enforcement set those boundaries. But what the viewer was trying to do was trying to go out here and show some compassion on this individual, try to show some compassion to this individual who basically was, again, participating in, again, disturbing behavior such as blowing up their phone and constantly calling them and looking to go through their friends to manipulate them. this is where the viewer tried to show some compassion to the individual because they were a high school dropout, and as they were a high school dropout, they didn't want to mess up their chances of having any sort of job prospects, because once you get a felony conviction on your record, you're basically done in this society. You're done in this society unless you're a white male. I mean, this guy basically, again, she didn't see what she was trying to have compassion on him as related to things. Now, this guy, as I see it, if he should have been, she should have just gone out here and again gone and got the restraining order, filed the police report, because this guy's behavior was criminal, and it was so criminal it could have put her life in jeopardy. And this is where I want the viewer to understand: you have to look out for yourself. Don't worry about others. This guy's behavior is antisocial behavior, and when someone is participating in antisocial behavior, you need to set a hard boundary with that individual to let them know where the line is. You as an adult have to set a boundary with this individual to let them know where the line is, and don't feel bad about contacting law enforcement to let them know this man is stalking and harassing you. If this man is stalking and harassing you, he is committing a crime, and you need to go out here and again file those police reports and restraining orders against this individual to let them know where the line is, and let them know where the line is, and let the police know about his behavior, because the only way you can deal with a beta male stalker like this is to go out here and again start letting law enforcement know about him. If you don't know people who can give him a severe beating, like I talk about in my book Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, a lot of time these simps, again nice guy simps, don't understand where the boundary is as related to a woman, and what they will do is again keep using the same approaches over and over again to try to get her attention, not understanding, like I said in the previous video, that this is the definition of insanity, and the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result. And this guy basically showed how Arkham certified he is by going out here and again after a woman, basically coming after her sideways, again coming from that position of weakness, again not understanding what the word no means, but still going out here and continuing to persist in antisocial behavior and believing that antisocial behavior is going to have a positive impact as related to getting this woman to say yes, when in actuality she's creeped out by your disturbing antisocial behavior, and so creeped out that she basically is afraid for her life, because a relationship shouldn't be something where you're living in fear for your life. It should be something that's enjoyable for both of you. But this flies over the head of many of these beta males, because they get tunnel vision. Like I talk about in my book Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, these simps basically get so caught up in their feelings about what they want, and they don't think about things from a logical perspective as related to more important intangibles like their dignity, their self-respect, and most importantly, their freedom. And they continue to relentlessly pursue people, not understanding how you're just freaking people out with your, again, I repeat it once more, antisocial behavior. And I repeat the word antisocial because I want you to know that this behavior is not healthy social behavior, it's antisocial behavior. And that's what flies over the heads of many of these beta males, is not understanding your behavior is creeping people out, your behavior is weird, your behavior is not normal, your behavior is not the behavior of a normal man. No, a normal man understands to respect a woman's boundaries and respect other people. But this person, again, they're caught up in their fantasy, and they want to make their fantasy come to reality. But the whole thing is that the irony is that you're making people see really how sick and twisted you are and how you need some help. That's what this guy basically is showing people as related to his disturbing behavior, his absolutely disturbing and depraved behavior. That's what he's showing people, and showing people again that this guy again doesn't understand how to have relationships with people. And this is where I believe the viewer should not have had any mercy. No, you can't have mercy on guys like this. No, you have to let them know where the line is and where the line is drawn in the sand. And once you establish that line in the sand, you go out here and make sure that he understands where that boundary is, whether it be you telling him directly or the police telling him or a judge when they arrest him and take him into custody. Because usually with these kind of guys, when they start to see law enforcement come in, a lot of these betas will basically wind up folding like a $2 bill or a $2 or a cheap lawn chair. They'll just wind up folding and run away. But usually it takes, again, hard boundaries to let this person know where the line is. Now, the viewer further tells me that this guy, one of the reasons why she had compassion on him was not only because he was a high school dropout, but because he was out here doing drugs. And that's no excuse for his just egregious behavior. No, this guy basically was a complete wreck. And the whole thing is, with a wreck like this, you've got to let him know where the line is, and again, almost immediately. Now, the viewer goes on to ask the question again, was this person being jealous and immature? No, this has nothing to do with jealousy or immaturity. No, when it comes to these beta males, this is all about them and the world they want to build around someone. This is all about their whole distorted perception of reality. This is all about their own twisted idea about how the world is in their mind. And in their mind, basically, people are objects that they go out here and are part of their fantasies. And what this guy basically had was a whole fantasy he built around this viewer, had a whole fantasy built around them. And as he built this fantasy around this viewer, he basically wanted to see that fantasy come true, where he hoped to have her as, not as a girlfriend, but as an object for his twisted sexual desires. That's what usually happens with these nice guys. They create fantasies around people, and that is not a case of immaturity. No, that's a case of delusion, and a case of a person basically, again, being somewhat, again, disturbed all around, disturbed and mentally ill. And that situation possibly came before this person did drugs. It possibly came as related to the whole dysfunctional way he was raised. Because what I've seen with a lot of these nice guys from my years of research on them is that they're not very nice. They're very needy and insecure, and they need to go out here and they need to see the world go their way. And if it doesn't go their way, that's when these guys basically go berserk and start participating in this antisocial behavior of stalking people, harassing people, trying to blow up people's phones, and again, look to not try to, again, talk to people and understand people have different opinions, different viewpoints, different ideas. No, he wants everything to fit his perception of reality. He wants everything to meet everything in his rose-colored world, where everything is completely distorted. He wants to see his world, again, be made real for him. He doesn't understand people, doesn't care about people, no, doesn't care about anyone anymore. No, he wasn't, again, immature at all. He was just depraved and sick. And again, he was a depraved and sick individual because, again, healthy people respect other people. Healthy people give other people space. Healthy people respect other people's boundaries. Healthy people are up in the open. Healthy people let people know that where they stand. Again, they're up front. But when it comes to the nice guy, he's afraid of letting people know about what he really wants, because he knows what he wants is completely twisted. What he wants is completely sick and out there. He wants to, again, see his fantasies come true. He wants to see the world that he created come to fruition. And this is something, again, has nothing to do with maturity. This has to do with this man's whole mental perception of reality. He wasn't, again, jealous of this woman. No, he wanted to see his reality. That's all he did, all he cared about. Because when it comes to nice guys, they're not very nice. They're needy and insecure. and they are insecure because they feel like they can't take their own power as men. And that's what makes these guys dangerous, because they try to take power over people that they objectify. They try to take control over people, and they'll go to extremes to try to take that power unless you push back and establish a hard boundary for that individual. And that's where I believe the viewer did the right thing by, again, pushing back against this individual. And now that he's out of her life, I have to recommend that the viewer go into counseling, because when it comes down to traumatic events like stalking, again, they can, have a major impact on you. And the only way to work through those issues is with a licensed counselor or licensed psychotherapist who can help you deal with the trauma that you've dealt with by dealing with this individual. Because I know it can, again, give you a lot of anxiety and fear having to deal with this type of individual who was just, again, acting wild and out, and again, using profanity and going berserk or blowing up your phone. Again, this is terrifying to deal with. This is terrifying to encounter. Again, someone who won't give you your space or give you your own peace. I mean, it can be, again, overwhelming. And again, it's a major trauma, and you haven't really processed the trauma. You have to work through the trauma with a counselor. I mean, this is a horrific event, and I know from having experiences in my own life that were pretty bad, again, from my junior high school and high school days, that you just can't do it on your own. You really have to go out here and work with a counselor towards working out those issues, because you're still trying to process why this has happened. And again, that's something that sometimes people have to deal with. I've had to deal with it as related to losing jobs, and had to deal with it being mugged on the train, had to deal with processing all of this. And again, it can stay with you, and it can stay with you, and again, it can shape you, and again, make it where you have a hard time having relationships with others. But nothing you did was wrong. I want the viewer to understand this. You didn't do anything wrong. This guy was basically, again, very, very, very sick and twisted. And he was sick and twisted, and you didn't do anything wrong to him. He was the one who went out here and was wrong for going out here and having these distorted ideas about people and relationships. And he was the one who had these fantasies. Again, these were out of your control. No, this guy, again, was a very sick and depraved individual. And basically, you have to understand, there's nothing you could do about him but except contact law enforcement. And it's not for you to have mercy on him. It's for him to, again, get himself right. And if you need to set a boundary with law enforcement, that's your job and your right as a human being to your freedom, your personal space, and your ability to have peace. You have that right as a human being. You have that right to be treated right. You have that right to, again, have your freedom. And this is what I want the viewer to understand. Again, the viewer did nothing wrong in this situation, but the thing that you can do to help yourself is you have to go out here and get that counseling. Again, talk this out with people who are in the field of mental health, because this is a great trauma. I mean, stalking is a terrifying thing to happen to someone. It's terrifying because, again, you don't know what this guy is going to do. And if he's blowing up your phone, again, and again, going out here and yelling and using profanities and going crazy, I mean, this is classic nice guy behavior. Classic nice guy behavior as related to their behavior. I've read about their behavior extensively, and I've read from both women and men. But when it comes down to this nice guy, or this beta male simp, again, he has serious problems as related to understanding how relationships work, because he doesn't live in our world, and we have to let him know what the real world is and how relationships work in the real world. And when you cross the line, there are consequences for actions that let people know, how to behave. And this guy needed to learn those consequences as related to his behavior. He needed to learn them, and again, if he hasn't learned them, eventually he ran into someone. Either he ran into someone who did contact the police, or he wound up catching a beatdown by some dudes on the block who got tired of this dude, or the police wound up taking him into custody. I mean, the viewer, again, I want you to go out here and, again, get yourself some help, because this is, again, a traumatic event. and again, a traumatic event as related to things. And again, you're trying to figure it out, but the way that you figure it out is with a professional counselor. And again, it's not about him and his, again, being jealous and immature. It's about him being sick and depraved, because this dude is sick. And again, if you can't take no for an answer, there's something wrong with you. If you come in, and again, if you come in sideways, and nice guys love to come in sideways, they love to go out here and try to play the friend, and in hopes of, again, getting the woman to think, oh, I'm a good guy, and if I can be your friend, I can be your man. But that's not how it works in life. A man who wants to or have a relationship with a woman is upfront from minute one. He lets her know he's interested in minute one, and he only, again, comes up front and approaches himself up front. He's honest about everything as related to his intentions. He doesn't need to come in sideways and be dishonest. But this guy, again, he basically, again, had an impact on this viewer. And again, he's just a sick and, again, messed up individual. I mean, the whole thing is, she says that the last time she heard from him, he was doing drugs, but and doing other stuff. But again, that's not your problem. That's his problem. But you have to, again, understand that you have to go out here and work through these issues as related to this trauma. Work through these issues as related to this trauma by getting some counseling, because the traumatic events you've experienced, basically, you do need somebody to help you work them out so that you can go on and move on with your life. Now, this was a video requested by one of my longtime viewers, and if you want to request a video, you can send a donation for a minimum of $15 to the PayPal or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box, and if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. And if you want to learn more about men's issues and learn more about how to identify dysfunctional behavior in men, you can pick up my books like Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, and The Man Crisis, not to mention Stop Simping in the Workplace, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, and other men's issues books. You can find all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback at e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati. A man who rules the world takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed, all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pick up your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.